Children should be taught how to think, not what to think. Hey there, Salina here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I plan on teaching religion to my son. This is going to be the most controversial topic that I am going to be talking about, and as I've said in a few of my previous videos, my opinions and my beliefs in the way that I'm going to be doing things are not the way that most people would do them. Quick disclaimer before we get started. I am by no means saying that I'm a perfect parent. My son is only 1 year old, so I only have but so much experience. I am not saying by any means that my ideas are right. I'm just simply sharing with you guys my opinion. And I would love to hear yours, whether you agree or disagree with what I have to say. I try to keep an open mind with everything I do in my life, and I would love it if while watching this video, if you could keep an open mind too. Again, I would love it if you could share your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with me, in the comments down below, but please do so as respectfully as possible. Now, on to the video. Okay, so first things first, before I really get into it, I'm going to be discussing 4 different topics. So I'm going to give you guys my story and kind of where I am with religion and my beliefs, because it kind of is the reason why I'm teaching my son this what I am teaching him. So I'm starting off with my story, that I'm going to be talking about religion and character, religion and morals, and then I will be telling you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing with my son. If you would like to skip ahead to any of those, then they will be right here. And before I get into my story, I do want to say that I am not going to be teaching my son what I believe or having him believe the same thing that I believe. So don't listen to my story and say, oh, her son is going to be what she is. I am going to be doing something completely different with my son. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Everything that I'm saying is really just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm just trying to cover very simple bases, but there's a lot more that could go into this video. So, into my story. As most people do within the United States, not all, but most, I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up Christian. My mom grew up with very strict Christian parents, and because of the way she grew up, she wasn't too strict with us. We didn't go to church. The only time we really went to church was when we were with our grandparents, but we still considered ourselves to be Christian. I didn't really know much about any other religions or anything like that at that time. It was just my family was Christian, so I was Christian too. Flash forward all the way to college. I was in that trying to find myself, trying to figure out who I really am and all that stuff type situation, you know, how people do in college. And all of this, the rest of the story is going to happen within my first semester of my senior year in college. So from about June 2014 to November 2014. That's when all of this is happening. So yeah, trying to find myself. I decided then that if I was going to do anything, I was going to do it 100%, because of course, as I've said throughout my life, I never really prayed. We didn't go to church and stuff like that. So if I was going to be a Christian, I was going to 100% do everything like I was supposed to do. I wanted to put my all into it. I wanted to do it right. So as I tried more and more to get into the religion, one of the things that I just could not get past were all the hypocrites that were within Christianity. And I realized that not everybody in Christianity are hypocrites, but there are a lot of them, and I just couldn't get past it. And I even tried to look at Christianity as the religion isn't the people, it's about what they teach, but I just couldn't get past I just couldn't get past the hypocrites. And also that time I kind of realized that the only reason that I was Christian and the only reason that I believed what I believed was because my family believed that, was because my family was Christian. And I really didn't know much about the other religions. How could I say that Christianity was the right religion if I didn't know anything about the other religions? How do I know that that's really the one for me? So with all that, that is when I started to research the other religions. All of my research was done online, but I looked into Islam and being Muslim. I looked into Buddhism, Judaism, all of them, or a good amount of them, trying to find one that fit with what I believed, because a lot of the Christian beliefs just didn't sit right with me. So, and that didn't have too many strict rules. I don't know, there was just some things that I weren't willing to do, like stop eating pork at the time and all of this other stuff. So I was trying to find one that really fit with me, because like I said, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it 100% and adopt everything that they do. But I could never find a religion that really fit with everything that I believed. So that's when I decided that maybe I could be religious without, or maybe I can believe in God without being religious. But then I still had so many unanswered questions. There were so many things that still didn't make sense to me, involving God and all that stuff. And I wasn't getting answers to the questions, because pray about it or leave it in God's hands, or God works in mysterious ways. Those answers were never enough for me. Those answers never did anything for me. I still always wondered. So really and truly, since I was a little kid, I've always had doubts. There were times where I did believe because that's what made sense. And then there were times where, I don't know, just like the way my brain was working, I just didn't believe, and it just didn't make sense. As I was younger, I just went back and forth between believing and not believing. And of course, then I started this journey of trying to figure out where I fit within religion. And then in searching for some of the answers to my questions, I found atheism. I didn't even really know it was a thing until my senior year in college. From researching atheism and watching videos on YouTube and getting all of that information, I really started to find answers to a lot of questions that I wasn't getting. And sometimes I didn't find answers. I found more answers in atheism than I did with religion, and a lot of that stuff made so much more sense to me than a lot of stuff with religion does. So that's kind of where I am now. I am an atheist. Specifically, I'm an agnostic atheist. So I don't know for a fact that God doesn't exist, but I don't believe he does. Your knowledge and your beliefs are two separate things. Well, separate things. So yeah, like I said, I'm an atheist, but I am not going to be, my son is not going to be an atheist. Or at least I don't know what he's going to be. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video if you want to know how exactly I'm going to teach my son. But the next topic is going to be religion and character. One thing that I've noticed, of course, is that people believe that in order to be good that you have to be religious or Christian. People equate being Christian with being good, or being religious with being good, and if you don't have religion, then you're bad. But that is not true. One thing that I've noticed is that when people introduce somebody, they introduce somebody being religious as it being a good quality, as if it makes them a better person. And someone's religion does not tell you anything about their character. It only tells you about what they believe. I have met some of the most lying, cheating, stealing, all of it people, like some of the worst people that I've met are religious. Being a Christian or being Muslim or whatever, having a religion doesn't automatically make a person good. I personally don't think religion is necessary, period, but I do realize that religion does help a lot of people. It gives them hope. It gives them a reason to live and all of this stuff. But religion is also bad for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who have lost their lives in the name of religion. There's a lot of people who religion makes them feel horrible about themselves. I was one of those people who, when I was religious, I spent every day wishing that I would die so that I could go be with God, among several other things. But I personally don't think religion is necessary in order to be good. And I personally think that I am a good example of someone who is good without religion. I try every day to be as selfless as I can and to work on improving and becoming a better person. So I know one of the main reasons why people teach their kids about religion is to help give them guidance through their life. So they use it as, a lot of people use God to guide them through their lives. That's why people teach their kids about religion. And then also to make them good people, to instill those Christian values or whatever values into their kids so that they grow up to be better people. But as I've said, just because you're religious, it doesn't automatically make you a good person. You could have those values instilled in you and still not follow any of them. So the next topic that I'm going to talk about is religion and morals. A lot of people say that they get their morals from God, that moral comes from God, and that without God, you don't have morals. And godless people just like to go around lying, stealing, cheating, killing, raping. That's why people are godless, or at least that's what people assume. First off, religious people do all that stuff too. But secondly, that's just honestly not the case for several reasons. I personally don't believe that morals come from God, not even for religious people. One, because that's not the way society works, and two, because we have empathy. With society, the way that we are able to function, from going to the store to living in neighborhoods and living as close as we do to other people, is because we don't go around just killing and raping and stealing stuff from other people. If we lived in a society like that, personally, I wouldn't want to live near anybody. I'd live off by myself, and the vast majority of people would too. If you had a choice between living in a neighborhood where everybody is stealing and raping and you could go outside and get shot at any point in time, would you really live anywhere near anybody else, or would you go off and live by yourself? 9 times out of 10, you choose to go off and live by yourself. In order for society to work, we can't do those things. In order to live the way we live, we are social beings, and in order to have that interaction with people, we have to act accordingly. The second thing is empathy. We have empathy for others. Most of us do, and it's why we don't hurt others. It's why we feel bad if we do hurt somebody. It's why we don't just go around killing and stabbing people, and because we either know how it would feel or we can imagine how it would feel, we can empathize with that person. And because of that, it's why when we do bad things, we feel bad, because we have empathy. It's not necessarily God told us not to, so that's why we don't do it. Empathy is really, it's one of the main reasons why we don't go around stealing and killing and murdering and raping everybody that we can. With the way God works, well, not God works, but with the way that I'm always hearing things, I don't want my son's life to be always about getting blessings and avoiding punishment. So I realize that not everybody thinks this way, but when it comes to God and religion, this is something that I hear all the time. If I do this, that, and the other, then God will give me this, or God will do that for me. And if I don't, then I'm going to get punished. And that's why people do things. And I don't want my son's whole life to be about getting blessings and avoiding punishment. I don't want my son to do good in order to receive. I want him to do good because it's what's good, or do what's right because it's what's right, if that makes sense. So if you turn this around into like friendships and relationships with other people, you wouldn't be friends with somebody simply, or you wouldn't want somebody to be friends with you simply because you're useful to them. And then as soon as your usefulness is up, they're no longer friends with you. Those aren't the kind of relationships that we want. So I also wouldn't want my son to have that relationship with God, if that makes sense. What you hear is, God is good, God did this for me, and he's done so much for me, and he can do this for me, and he can do that for me, and he can do this for you too, so that's why you should love him, because he can do for you, and because he has done for you. I don't love my mom because of what she has done and can do for me. I love my mom because of who she is. With religion, that's kind of what you hear. They don't say it exactly like that, but it's what you hear. I love God because he's done this for me and because he can do this for me. Thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. Praise Jesus, all that stuff. And I don't want my son's whole life to be based around loving someone or people because they can do for you. If I'm not religious, if I don't equate someone's character with religion, and if I don't think morals come from religion, what does that mean for my son? Well, it's up to him to decide. Whatever he decides to do, I will 100% support him. He does not have to be an atheist. He can be religious if he wants to, and he doesn't have to be religious. I'm going to allow my son to decide. I am not going to push my beliefs on my son. I really feel like it's important for him to have his own reason to believe, which is kind of where that quote from the beginning of the video comes in. Children should be taught how to think, not what to think. I wasn't necessarily told what to believe, but I wasn't told anything else. I wasn't taught about the other religions. Christianity was the only thing that I know, so Christianity was the only thing that I believed. And I want my son to have the knowledge to be able to choose what he feels in his heart is right to him. I do believe that it is best for him to have his own reason to have beliefs, versus my mom said that this is what's right, so this is what I'm going to believe. My mom believes in God, so I'm going to believe in God. Things like that. I don't feel like those are good reasons to believe. And if he does believe, I feel like that is going to have him to have greater faith. Believing because somebody else believes is not a good reason to believe. It's not going to give somebody very strong faith. And if he develops his own reasons to believe, that is going to give him strong faith. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be teaching him about all different kinds of religions. And I meant to say this in the beginning of the video, but I'm open to learning about all the different religions because, as I've said, all of my research was done online, but I would love to talk to people in person about the different religions and what they believe. The last religion that I explored was Mormonism, which is actually like a branch off of Christianity. I am open to hearing and learning about different people's beliefs. Do I think that they could change my mind in what I believe? No, but I am open to it. I am open to hearing and learning more information so that I can teach my son and make sure that he has the proper tools to be able to learn. So I will support my son in whatever he does and whatever he decides to do. If he wants to go to church, I will take him to church. If he wants to go to a mosque, I will take him to a mosque. If he wants to go to some kind of temple or whatever, I will take him and I will 100% support whatever it is that he wants to do, as long as it is not because of pressure to fit in with other people, as long as it's not pressure from somebody else. I do have family members that are very, very pushy about what they believe, and I don't want them to decide for him what he should believe. I want it to be his choice, and the same thing goes with his friends. As long as it's not what all my friends believe, so I feel like I should believe too. As long as he's going to explore and get information and to find his own reason to believe, if he so chooses to, then I will 100% support him. But I don't believe in doing anything because other people are doing it. So at first I wasn't going to be sharing with my son what I believed. I was just going to let him kind of figure it out on his own, if that makes sense. I didn't want to influence what he was going to believe. But because we live with my mom and she listens to her Christian music and all of that stuff, eventually he is going to start asking questions about it. So when he does, we'll talk to him about like what my mom believes. This is what she believes, but then this is what I believe, so that he can just see that that isn't his only option, that he has other things that he can believe. There are books that I plan on getting that teach about all the different religions. They are children's books that I plan on getting for him, and as he gets older and when I get those books, I will do reviews for those for you guys so that you guys can see those different books. If you want, then I will list some of the books down below that I plan on getting when he does get older. One of the main things that I plan on teaching my son is empathy and the golden rule of treating others how you want to be treated. I try to do this 100% in my life, so it does not matter how somebody else treats me. I always try to make sure that I treat them the way that I want to be treated. Does it always mean treating people kindly? No. Because I know sometimes if I was acting crazy, I'd need somebody to, let me know that I need to chill the fudge out. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean always being kind to others, but I try to put myself in their shoes. And if I'm hurting somebody, I would want them to let me know. I try to treat others the way I want to be treated in everything that I do in life. And that's one of the biggest things that I want to teach my son. And also empathy, to have empathy for others. And so I guess I plan on starting doing this and teaching him more about religion when he starts asking questions about it, because it's not a huge part of our life. I think if we went to church more, or if I was around some of his other family, I might have started a little early, because his grandma on his other side does, they own a church, and then his father is Muslim, and then I have family on my mom's side that are more religious. So if we were closer to them, I might start with him a little bit early, but I think for now I'm just going to wait until he starts asking questions. And one of the biggest things that I'm going to let him know is that it's okay not to know. It's okay not to know what he believes. It's okay not to have answers to questions, because a lot of people feel that religion gives them all the answers, that God has all the answers and stuff, but it's okay not to know. And I want him to know that you don't have to feel that you have to have all the answers, or that you have all the answers. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to care. I know people who couldn't care less about religion. And another one of the biggest things is that I want to teach my son how to think for himself. I don't want to tell my son what to think. I want him to be able to make decisions on his own. I want him to be able to just decide things for himself. And I feel like one of those things that it starts with is religion. A lot of people have what they believe chosen for them at an early age. I want to make sure that whatever he does is going to be his choice. So yeah, I don't know if I really said this, but one of the main reasons why I decided to do this video is because religion is a huge thing when it comes to raising kids, especially if you are with someone and you two have conflicting religions. So like sometimes people are Christian and they're married to somebody who's Muslim, but religion is one of those huge aspects when it comes to raising kids. So I just wanted to share my opinion and what I'm going to be doing with my son. So I would love it if you could share your opinion and what you're going to be doing with your child. Again, you do not have to agree with anything that I say by any means. So if you're a Christian and you plan on raising your child as Christian, then say so in the comments. Nothing wrong with disagreeing. Just make sure that you do so as respectfully as possible. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. New video every Wednesday and sometimes Sunday. And until next time, deuces.